the Wiedmans up, Christy and Eric. And if you brought your whole family, you would take the whole stage. So come on up. Minus one who's at camp. But first, I just want you to introduce yourselves.
My name is Christy Wiedman, and this is my husband, Eric Wiedman. We'll try and go in order here. We have Noah, Grace, Jordan is at camp, Matthew, Gabe, Drew, and Hope. Yeah, aptly named. And we're gonna let them escape the stage.
So I'm going to ask you the same question, which I know can be super involved too, just to give us a little glimpse into where you guys are with your cancer journey.
Well, our son Gabe, I'm telling the story of a caregiver and mother.
It's okay.
Someone told me you can't cry and drink at the same time. So I might drink a lot. It's just water. Our son Gabe, when he was a toddler, had a lump on his neck that just always bothered me because it just didn't seem normal. And every year we'd have a yearly chat with the family doctor where I'd say, I'm really worried about that lump. And he'd say, well, does he have any other symptoms? Is there a fever? Is he losing weight? Does he have night sweats? No. Then don't worry about it. And then I'd come back the next year and we'd repeat. But in January of 2018, that lump quadrupled in size. And so we went right back to the doctor. They did some testing. They did an ultrasound and some blood work, and it all came back negative. So once again, the doctor said, don't worry about it. Just keep an eye on it. If anything changes, let us know. Well, I watched that thing like a hawk because there was just that mother's instinct that something was not right. And in November of 2018, I felt like it had grown again. And so I marched him right back to the doctor, and we went through the same scenario of, does he have any symptoms? No. But I think it's gotten bigger, and the doctor was ready to send me off again, but this time I dug my heels and I said no. Either you give me an explanation or you send me on to someone who can tell me what's going on. So grudgingly, he sent us on to a pediatric surgeon. That surgeon looked at the same scans that were taken 9 months previously and said, I see something in there that does not look normal. We're going to remove the lymph node and we're going to have it tested, which I was so relieved. I thought, finally, that lymph node is going to be out of there and life can go back to normal. And I really didn't dream that it would ever be anything more than just, an overactive lymph node. But on December 7th, we got news that rocked our world. The lymph node was benign. Malignant, sorry. We hoped it was benign. And he had Hodgkin's lymphoma. The first 24 hours after that diagnosis was really bad. I gave full vent to all my fears, and I let them take me to some pretty dark places. And it was dark, and it was lonely, and it felt hopeless. And at that point, the only prayer that I could muster together was, please no, please no. And more than anything, I wanted the cancer, let me have it. Don't make Gabe go through this. But that was not God's plan. This was a path that Gabe was going to have to walk. And it was our God-given job to walk with him. So on December 31st, our son began chemotherapy, and that lasted for 9 weeks. And it was rough. He had a lot of adverse effects from that, and it really affected him physically and emotionally. And at the end of those 9 weeks, we had another PET scan, and although the cancer had been reduced, it was not gone. So we had to go another round of treatment. This time it was a 4-week-long treatment of a different drug. Thankfully, it was a lot easier for Gabe and very effective. His last PET scan came back clear, so he is officially considered in remission. Yes. And now he will have scans for every 3 months for the foreseeable future. Eventually, they'll space out a little more, and once we've reached 5 years, he will be considered officially cancer-free. But as a caregiver, there were definitely some challenges that we had to face, and also some really unexpected blessings. Some of the challenges that we faced is we really had to put aside our own feelings and just focus on being there for Gabe. So, maybe in the shower or on a drive by myself, I could actually let it all out, but otherwise we just had to kind of stuff down what we were feeling so we could be strong for him. We also had to find a delicate balance of letting Gabe feel what he was feeling, but reminding him of the truth, which namely is that, cancer does stink, but God is good and he's doing something. And he's going to use all of this for his good, not only for Gabe's good, but for the good of all those whose lives Gabe will touch. And we had to remind him of that often, and ourselves. And we also had to try and balance meeting Gabe's needs while still caring for our other 6 children. Because unfortunately, those of you who are going through cancer or have gone through it, you know that life doesn't stop just because you're going through cancer. And you still have to keep going. But probably the hardest part of being his caretaker was making decisions about his treatment plans. And never before as parents were we faced with a situation where we had to decide between care that was going to have such negative and possibly permanent side effects for him, and then seeing how those treatments adversely affected him and still having to take him back for more. That was really hard. But in the midst of all the hard, there was some incredible blessings that we could not have anticipated. We learned how to trust God like we never have before. And we learned so much about God's character, how he is such a personal and loving God. And he meets your every need and then even goes beyond to bless you with things that you don't need. And we've gotten to witness God growing our son in character. And honestly, Gabe Wiedman is a hero of mine. And he always will be. And we also got to spend a lot of quality time with Gabe. But I want to say as a parent, there are better ways to find that quality time. But if you find yourself in a cancer journey, it's one of the nice side benefits. We did get to spend some incredible time with him as well.
Yeah, so you're doing awesome. You don't even need to give me the mic. Let's keep going. No. Tell us how you got connected to Radiant Hope, or a little bit about that.
I'm going to let Eric share a little bit first, and then I'm going to jump in.
Yeah, the journey, I didn't know what to expect, but the neat thing about it is, and you guys were right in front of the line of just countless acts of love, care, generosity, and Radiant Hope. You were the first responders. Literally, I don't even know how many, it was just a few days. It's almost, they must have done something with the mail to get it there fast. But they had something in the mail to us, just a very amazing, generous gift that was just going to be something that was going to bring joy to the family. And it was there just like a shot. And we have this blue couch in our living room where we shared this information with Gabe about cancer. And it had become the, oh no, we're going to the blue couch. So that was the first opportunity we had to bring something great to him on the blue couch.
And for me, as I shared in the beginning, I just in a dark place of fear. And Joanna, you reached out to me so quickly and just faithfully checked in on us, offered words of encouragement and truth. I knew you guys were praying for us, and it was amazing. And then a few weeks into the journey, we got some more mail, and this time it was 2 packages. The first one was for Gabe, and it absolutely made his day. It was chock full of both fun and very practical gifts. But the second one was for me, and I was so touched by that. And in that moment, I felt incredibly loved and cared for. And I just felt like God was sending me a message that day. I see you. And I know that you're taking care of Gabe, but that you also need to be cared for. And I genuinely just felt hugged and loved that day. And I love the name of this ministry, Radiant Hope. Truly, this ministry has helped me go from a very dark and hopeless, fearful place to a radiant, confident hope that God was using this and that He would bring good out of it. It reminds me so much of 1 John 4:18, which says, "There is no fear in love, but perfect love drives out fear." Fear was gone, even though the situation wasn't gone.
Again, you're doing great. Just share, and you kind of have touched on it already, but just share with everybody so they can get a sense of just the importance of community in going through something like this.
Well, this was the greatest blessing of this whole journey, and really the only reason that we were able to make it through. Our support team was the team that God assembled to be His physical feet, arms, and mouthpiece in our lives. And my first taste of this, of how God was going to be so personal and meet every need as it came about 24 hours after the diagnosis. As I shared in the beginning, those first 24 hours were rough, and my mind was not where it needed to be. And I was grieving, and I really felt like I had no hope, even though I know that's not true. That's what I was feeling. And at that point, we had only told our kids, our parents, and our siblings. And they, as you would expect, they were all so supportive. They were very concerned as well. But about 24 hours after getting the news, our in-laws stopped by. And I went out to the car. And I talked to my mother-in-law. And I don't even remember the exact words that she said, but I remember that she assured me that she had peace, that God was going to bring something good from this, and that we could trust His sovereign plan. And even though that wasn't new news to me, it was exactly what I needed to hear in that moment. And immediately I felt like someone had just taken a weight off of me and replaced it with such hope. And we had moments where it was difficult, but I never went back to that dark place again. And that was just the first of many times when people would call or text or email or drop by at just the moment where we so needed a word of encouragement. And God knew when we needed those moments, and He would give the right person a Holy Spirit nudge, and they would obey, and they would come, and it just ministered to us so much. Another thing that really touched us was the way that people use their gifts and abilities to bless us. We had one friend who's a gifted photographer, and she said, could I photograph this journey for you? So she did this incredible family shoot and came to Gabe's treatments, and that was just a priceless gift. There were so many people who made us meals, and that was an incredible blessing, because honestly, I couldn't think about making a meal when I got home. I was like, can we fast? I mean, it was great. We had another friend who doesn't cook, but she loves to shop, so she went out and bought us all kinds of just fun treats to try and cheer us up, and then, practical things that we might need. So people made hats for Gabe or bought him hats when he started losing his hair. Others gave generously monetary gifts and gift cards. We had a prayer team that literally spanned coast to coast and to 5 different continents. Many people we've never even met before were just praying for us on a daily basis. We had the support of family, friends, our church family, neighbors, even strangers, like you mentioned, who just heard about our story and wanted to do what they could to encourage us. And that love that we were shown has really inspired us that we need to love others through their difficult circumstances. And it doesn't take special talents to be able to do that. In fact, it just takes using the gifts you've already been given to try and bless others. And that's exactly what Radiant Hope does.
Thanks. Thank you, guys.